This is Ariane from La Fille de la Mer, and I have something super exciting for you guys today. A magic holiday fairy decided to visit my workshop last night, and she brought magic fairy dust. And I will be making her favorite soap so that all of you guys can enjoy it, and it will be on my website very soon. I still have a couple one from last year, but it's time to stock up again as the holidays are coming along and many children will want to have one of these in their stockings. Let's take a closer look at how I make this soap. The first thing I did is that I took out my star silicone ice tray molds and I made some yellow stars. And I colored it with Nurture Soap's Yellow Vibrance Mica. I decided to use this color because it's a non-bleeding colorant, so the yellow from the stars will not migrate into the other colors that will be integrated into this soap. The next step is to spritz the stars with rubbing alcohol so that the next layer of soap will adhere to them. I just kind of spritz and toss them around. And then with some melted white melt and pour and a fork, I dip all of my stars to kind of coat them with the melt and pour so that the layer will kind of be marked with a white line. You can see on this soap that there is a little white line all around, and that's because I dip all of my stars in white melt and pour prior to integrating them to the fairy soap. I find that this process is a little bit like when making homemade chocolate truffles. You know, when you melt that chocolate and you dip the truffles into that hard coating, it's like that feeling. I'm dipping stars. Once the little stars are dry, I just take a little utility knife and slide it under to remove them from my work table. And then I just trim off the little drops that are kind of all around the base of the stars. Now that the stars have been made, I will place my molds, but right before, I forgot to tell you I have some very exciting announcement for you, but I will do that at the end of the video, so stay tuned because this is gonna be super awesome. All right, so let me show you what I do with these molds, because you see that in this soap I have a tilted layer. It's not straight, so the molds will actually need to be tilted. What I do is that I take some towels, clean towels, and I place them under each side of my mold and on each end as well, so that my layers are tilted and that it doesn't slide from what they are holding on. If it's not tilted enough, what I'll do is that these are the end of the molds. I have some extra ones from other molds that aren't being used right now, so I can tilt it even more with these, or any kind of block or anything you need, you can grab around in your workshop that will make your molds tilted. So place these under. And there we go. Now, so that nothing moves and nothing slides, I'm just gonna put a little weight. Hey, I got some color blocks. There. This shouldn't move anymore. So this one is being held by the color blocks and the other mold is being held by this one. While we are waiting for this layer to set, here are a few tips on making layered soaps. First of all, when using melt and pour, you should know from your supplier what is the melting point, and you should know at which temperature you need to work at. So when you pour one layer over the other, you do not want it to be too hot, otherwise you're going to melt the previous layer and ruin all of your hard work. And if you pour too cold, it will not bond together, and they will most likely split apart and break when you unmold and cut your soap. So having a thermometer is a very good idea. I really like infrared thermometers like this one because you don't actually need to dip and wash your thermometer between each use. Another thing to consider is your fragrance oils. Some fragrance oils will discolor the color of your soap because it contains vanilla or other ingredients that will affect the color on the long term. So it may look red when you just make it, but in a few weeks it might turn brown or pinkish. So if you want your red to stay red and your golden yellow to stay golden yellow, use fragrances that have no vanilla, and read the data sheets of each fragrances. Suppliers usually have a comment section on each of their products, and read the comments. If someone said, oh, this colored has discolored, even though it didn't have vanilla, keep it for another project. Don't use it in a layered soap that you want the colors to stay true. Otherwise, it'll ruin all of your hard work. And also, rubbing alcohol is your friend. Every layer needs to be spritzed with rubbing alcohol between each use. I have my blue rubbing alcohol bottle right there, and I have it around for each melt and pour project that I make if there's shapes to be embedded or layers to be made. Making layered melt and pour takes time, and while we are waiting, I wanted to share with you some super exciting news. In 2018, I will be attending 2 major soap and cosmetic industry events, and I will be a speaker at both of those events. The first thing that I'd like to ask you is, do you have your membership card from the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild? This is an international non-for-profit guild based in the US that helps soap makers from around the world to find resources. They offer supplier discounts, and every year they have an annual conference somewhere in the US, sometimes east or west or in the center, and soap makers gather together, and it's huge and it's super big and super fun. I've been there in 2015, and I will be in Atlanta in May 2018. I will link all of the details below. But just to tell you, I will be doing a melt and pour presentation about swirling and integrating embeds into melt and pour soaps. And not only will I be speaking in Atlanta, but I will also be speaking for them in June of 2018 in Toronto, Canada, for their first Canadian annual conference that will be held in collaboration with the Handcrafted Bath and Body Guild, which is a Canadian organization for soap makers and cosmetic crafters in Canada. I will be doing a different topic in Toronto. It will be also about melt and pour, but how to use additives in melt and pour. So I hope I will get to see you in one of those 2 events. Get your membership card because you get discounts for the conference. But even though you're not a member, you can still come. The price will just be different. I will leave all the links below, whether you want to come to the Canadian or the US conference, or maybe you want to come at both, and that would be great too, because my topics will be different. So I wanted to make sure that if someone attended both events, they would have different topics from me. I'm gonna use this beautiful teal turquoise color from Nurture Soap Supplies, and what I do for this layer, because this is the layer that will embed the stars within, so I'm measuring from my scale my colorant. So here's the mica, and here is the magical fairy glitter. And then I add my fragrance oil. And if you look at the soap, I will be embedding the star right here within the blue. I'm gonna keep on mixing this, but I'm gonna also prepare my layer to receive the star. So what I do is I take a ruler that I cleaned with rubbing alcohol prior to putting it in my soap mold, and with a small utility knife, I'm gonna mark a little line at every place I want to put a star. Now I'm working very gently because this layer is still warm and pliable, and I don't want to, make an indent on the layer. But I also need to know where to put my stars so that when I cut my soap, there will be one star in every soap. Now is the time to glue these stars. So I'm gonna spray them, kind of swish them around just to make sure that they're all coated with the rubbing alcohol, and I just dip. So I dip the base of my stars and I place it right in the middle, right on top of every little mark that I did. So, dip, stick. Now that the layer is firm enough, I can remove the blocks from the molds and put them flat out on the table so that I can pour the last layer straight.
Magic Holiday Fairy Soap.
Well, the Magic Holiday Fairy Soap is in the mold. It will harden up until tomorrow, and I will be back to unmold it with you guys. There we go. This is how the Magic Holiday Fairy Soap looks like. And if you look closer, you can see that the translucent layers are shimmery and glittery, and It smells amazing with 5 different fragrance oils of fruity and sweet tones mixed together. It's perfect for holiday stockings, but it's also a perfect party favor for any birthday. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more videos. I have a melt and pour video playlist that you can look up. I make also cold process and other types of cosmetics. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And if you'd like to learn more about melt and pour soap making, don't forget that I will be a speaker for both of the HSCG's 2018 conference. One is in Atlanta, the other one is in Toronto, May, June of 2018. I will leave all the links below for all of the details, and there will be a lineup of crazy amazing speakers along with me on cold process, melt and pour, liquid soap, business tips, name it. Go check it out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.